Hello, coming to you via video today because I cannot make it to class on our makeup day. Reason I'm bringing this presentation to you is to talk about my leadership challenge for this class, and go through what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to introduce myself and my job, a little bit about my company. Then I'm going to explain to you my leadership challenge, how I met the challenge, and what I went about to get it completed, and then the final outcomes. A little bit about me is my name's Scott Massey, and I've worked at the Federal Home Loan Bank for 15 years now. I've worked in various different departments, had many job titles, and currently at the beginning of this year I was promoted to the investment services supervisor, so have a few employees under me now, and fortunately I was left a veteran staff and all experienced and good employees. Unfortunately, in the last year or two, we've had one of those employees who has really been dragging behind and not performing as she has in the past, and there's just been a change in her quality of work. And that brings me to my leadership challenge, and that really is to help her get back to where she used to be and be a good employee that I know that she can be. And I've worked with her for the last 5 years that she's been an employee there, but previous to that she was my intern, and I was definitely a significant person to get her hired on there when her schooling was over. And that is really important to me, since I do know her on a personal level, to get her working again and get her back on track, so no disciplinary action has to happen, and especially because I don't want to be the one that has to do the disciplinary action, because I do like her and I know she can do better. But some of the problems we've had with her is, check on my slides here. She's been late to work. That's just almost a daily thing, and this is one of those I think model the way moments too, that her previous boss was late every day. I mean, he's late 15, 20, 30 minutes every day, but still expects you to be on time, but of course he's never there on time, and over time people have really gotten to know that he's not really going to care if you're late, and he just is kind of a hands-off kind of boss, that he's just waiting to retire. He's been there, he's up in the next couple of years going to retire, and I think that he just wants the easiest day possible. That's just how I feel about it. But I think that's where I come in, is I'm never late. I'm usually 20 minutes early, and I know she sees that. And usually when she comes in late, I've noticed her, kind of feeling bad and kind of making excuses of why she's late every day. And there's important reasons that she has to be there on time, and I'll get into those a little bit more here when I talk about some of her responsibilities. The other issues I have is she has a lot of personal problems, and this is the start of her degrading as an employee. She is going through a divorce, and she's had all kinds of problems with that, and she's had medical problems. She actually lost a child in a really late term. She was like 8.5 months pregnant, and had a stillborn baby, and it just was devastating. And I found a quote that I thought was really interesting about personal problems, and it says, "Management is about achieving business results by focusing resources, and to properly focus resources, you'll have to deal with employee personal problems." And I think that's absolutely true. It's part of being management. You're going to deal with people's personal problems, and you've got to find ways to navigate them to where it ends up working best for the place you work for. You can't make it really hard on them and fire them, and it could cause repercussions from lawsuits or anything else. I mean, if you can navigate it properly and take their feelings in consideration, I think it can be worked out very well. Let's see here, and some of the reasons that her being on time is important is she has to meet deadlines. This can cause financial loss, overdraft the customers, overdraft the bank. And one of the ways she can overdraft the bank by being late in the morning is we actually fund the account. And that's one of her, if I get into responsibilities here, her responsibilities are really funding our account in the morning. So we really, typically it's about $2 to $3 billion we're putting into an account a day. So at any point, if we don't have that money funded and another bank hits us, we don't have any money there, the Federal Reserve starts charging you what's called a daylight overdraft, and you're charged by the minute, and you can get thousands and thousands of dollars in fees. And when I first started at the bank, I actually overdrew the bank $300 million, and I think interest rates were a little higher then, and it costs about $30,000 for my mistakes. So we really need her there on time. And some of the things she does is she handles the logistics for moving securities around the world. We move stocks, bonds, mortgage-backed securities, and pretty much any financial instrument that is transferable, we can send it, and we do. She handles processes payments for the securities that we hold. She handles short-term cash, short-term investments, mostly cash, deposits, CDs, similar instruments to that, usually with maturity dates of less than 2 years. Then she's also a backup, which handles third-party pledging, which is basically a financial institution is securing your deposits. So currently, right now, FDIC will cover your deposit for $250,000, but any dollar after that is uninsured. So what banks will do is they'll use their securities as collateral and back them up. So they'll use us as a third party. The Federal Home Loan Bank will go in and actually put a hold on that security, so they can't sell it or anything else without that person that's deposited their money, without them authorizing that. So they know that their money is safe at all times, and we provide statements for that. So she's got a lot of very important responsibilities. And just to get into my what I did to meet this leadership opportunity is what I'm calling it now, because at this point I think the challenge is over. I think once I get past this, it's my opportunity to really change her, And so first thing I did was I met with her. We met and we discussed everything from her personal problems to slacking off at work to being late. And I got a list of what she likes and does not like about her job, and she a few of the things she told me is it was definitely management she had an issue with previously. Her other boss just was just not really helpful to her, made her problems worse. And that's when I asked her about her biggest problem. Of course, she directed it towards the manager. She just thinks things aren't fair. She gets in trouble for things that other people don't. So if she makes a mistake, it's treated differently than, say, I or somebody else in a department makes a mistake. She feels like the management doesn't listen to her input and only really care about her when she makes mistakes. The only feedback she hears is getting yelled at and getting in trouble, which I've worked with her long enough that I witnessed it too. And I think these are some ways that I think I can really help her, because I feel that one of the reasons she is maybe slacking off on her job too is she has no empowerment. I think that's one thing I learned from this class, is really that I need to empower her as an employee and say, okay, this is your job. I'm not no longer going to babysit you, and if you make a mistake, then you're going to have to bring it to me, and me and you are going to work it out together. We're going to focus and say, okay, how can we make this mistake not happen again? And I think she by doing that and giving her the empowerment to say, this is my job, and then I think she's going to care more about it and really make less mistakes. But let me get into the final slide here. Hopefully that says outcomes. It does. Let's see, for her personal problems, some of the things I'm doing is I'm going to give her short-term accommodations and flexibility at her job. So I'm moving in another employee to take some of her responsibility away. I'm going to take away all her morning account funding, so she's late to work. And I also told her she has the ability, if she feels like she can't consistently be at work at 8 o'clock, then I told her she can change her hours from 8:30 to 5 or 8:30 to 4:30. I'm sorry, 8 to 4:30, and both taking a half an hour lunch instead of an hour lunch. And I listened to a lot of her input, and kind of told her, I'm going to take that in. I'm going to do the best I can to make your job easier, And you know, I did let her know too that these accommodations are short term. Once she gets, you know, her life back on track, that, you know, we're gonna pull these back and say, okay, let's get back to the regular schedule. I'll start giving her responsibilities back as I feel necessary. So when I can tell her other work is improving, and I feel like she's at a point where she's able to take on more responsibility, then I'm gonna start adding her stuff back in to get her back to where she was. And, you know, we're going to continue to meet. I think once a month we're going to try to, depending on how busy we are, and really just discuss what's going on and ways we can improve. And so I can hear her input of what she likes and doesn't like about what's going on in the department, and what I can do to help her. And I feel like this hands-off approach of our previous manager has just really snowballed effect and made her the bad employee, because she's somebody that needs the guidance. She needs somebody there that's always telling her what to do, and you know, focusing her. And I think that a few of the suggestions that I've made will definitely make her a better employee. And hopefully this meets my leadership challenge. Thank you.